Welcome to chapter 34. In this chapter, we are, among other things, going to be looking at contemporary Mari music, and we are going to look at verbing, verbal derivation, forming verbs from different types of stems, from nominal stems and from verbal stems. Before we get to that, though, there is one point of grammar that we want to cover before we get to that, and that is the usage of at, this additive particle, to link clauses. So we have talked about at many times, going back to the very first lessons where we were talking about it as first I likened it to Finnish kin and can, and for those that know Finnish, and I mentioned that various types of constituents can be linked with it, that you can have like nouns that are linked with that are coordinated with it, or verbs or whatever, but you can also use it to coordinate entire sentences so that it is used as a clause linking conjunction of sorts. And if you do that, it has the meaning of it means after then But you might think, well, don't we already have a structure for that with the converb in mekke? Yes, we do, but the range of functions is a bit different. So if we are using mekke to link clauses, one moment, something's blinking at me. Yeah. If we are using mekke to link clauses, we are denoting subsequency, that we have in one event happens and then another event happens, without any without anything beyond that, so to say. We also then had the postpositional clauses with dechvara that have a very similar function. If you are using at to link clauses and link two finite clauses between them, there is a very specific connotation here. And that is that you have one event happening, and that event happening immediately triggers another one. So as soon as you did blah, 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 that you have a much stronger immediacy between the two elements that you're streaking, that you no sooner had I opened the fridge that the power went out or so. Like, there are different ways of expressing such things in English and other language too. Mari has a very nice own construction for this. And I said linking finite clauses, they can be finite clauses in any tense form then that we have. So here we then have the whole thing with that I was talking about with the converbs of relative temporal ordering, blah, 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 blah. Not relevant here. Here it is working as it would in more Western languages, that you have two finite clauses in the appropriate tense forms. For example, pasha gich tolam at. So pasha gich tolam, I come from work, and then this at, chla ishtem, I'll do everything. As soon as I get back from work, I'll do it all. I'll do everything. So you could also say pasha gich tol mekem chla ishtem. After I come home from work, I would do it. But the connotations are different. That is just like now, if I would use the mekke form, I would really just be saying one and then the other. But with the at, it is like as soon as, immediately when. Okay. And here it makes sense to look at the individual examples on your own. I'm not going to go through them all. Also, just to see what strange looking things can happen in morphophonology just by having the various finite endings with getting the at to it. Like if we have the like here kayat, it looks like the plural form then, but it is kaya, third person singular plus at. Or pueshat, it's then pu, give, ish, first past tense marker, and an at. Or here, if we have a first conjugation verb, we would have lekte, and then at, and the at deletes the final vowel of the stem, and we suddenly have a form lektat that looks like the present tense second person singular. So it looks like something completely different than it is. So this is something just to play through the various scenarios in morphology in your head. And it's something to keep in the back of your mind if you are reading a Mari sentence and you have a verbal form ending in at, and the form that comes to your mind, like the first interpretation that comes to your mind doesn't make any sense. Think of all the strange things that could be happening here, making things look like creating homophonous forms where you might not have expected them. Yeah, I mean, this just from experience, this is something that happens very often in reading Mari texts, that somebody's like, oh, why on earth is there a second person singular here? And oh, it's not a second person singular, it's an at or whatnot. Yeah, and you can probably imagine that this was a ton of fun in creating a morphological analyzer for Mari, distinguishing between all the different interpretations with all the ambiguities that show up. Are there any questions about this before I move on? Yes, Sonia.
Yes, thank you. Sonia again has a question. Not to disappoint you, I have a question related to this homophonous forms, because I would have thought that the subject is always expressed, so that it makes it at least a bit easier to see and understand that the form in question is not, for example, plural, the third form plural, or the second form singular.
Not necessarily. I
mean,
Mari is a pro-drop language, and
okay.
So it's like pronominal subjects can be omitted. And this is something that my colleague Johannes Hirvonen and I have looked at in corpus data on what the relationship is between homophony and pronoun dropping. Mm-hmm. And like we had the hypothesis that forms that are homophonous, that there is less pronoun dropping happening when there is some homophony. Horrible word. And the results that we came up with is that yes, like when there are forms that are when some ambiguity occurs, it is less likely that Mari's dropped pronoun, but only a little bit, because usually the context for a competent native speaker makes it clear who the pronoun is anyway. So even if a form is ambiguous, they will still drop the pronoun. So you can still have you can still be led down the garden path, so to say, by by falsely interpreting, for example, an at ending. But in a lot of the examples that we have here, yes, the subject is overtly expressed. So you would be able to know it. Like in this, okay, this is a bad example because tolash is intransitive verb. Sorry, yeah, was stuck. But if this was a transitive verb, and if it didn't have an L or an N in the final position, and we would have like, oh God, the only one that's coming to my mind now is to kill, which, sorry about that. But if it is like something like let's say, Isam, blah, 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 pushtat, you might think, okay, so that is pushtash to kill, second person singular, you killed, and Isam is like the brother in the accusative. But it could also be Isam, my brother, and as a subject of the sentence. And then pushtat would be pushto, the third person singular, first past tense, plus the at. So it's like you do find examples where you need to be attuned to the context to read it and to interpret it correctly. I hope that made sense.
Yes, it does. And one more question.
Yeah.
Is this at clitic used more in spoken language or more in written language?
It's used a ton in both.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
I mean, I can give you what it is used a lot in spoken language. And there was a debate. Timothy Riese and I got to observe a debate between our two Mari co-authors, Emma Yakimova and Galina Krylova, where Emma was forming some sentences that had like basically an at on every single word of it. And Galina was saying, oh, come on, cut down on the ats, it's a bit too much. And then Emma says, no, this is just because I'm such a vivacious, energetic person. And it's like, because it's like, she sees it as like expressing herself as a very emotionally invested and active person, that she uses a lot of at. So it's like the more coffee you drink, the more at you use, kind of, if you are a Mari. It's kind of roughly the feeling you get. Yeah. Okay, but in addition to this like very emphatic optional usage of at, in these cases here, this is not optional here. This is like a very specific function, very specific construction where we are using it to express a very specific thing. And yeah, we will have examples both in the text for this chapter and in the exercise we're going to look at it in practice. So any other questions? Okay, then let's move on to the big topic of the week, which is verbal derivation, creating verbs from different verbal stems. And we are again going to be looking at the different categories. I mean, we did this already with nouns and adjectives. It's just going to be more because we have more productive verbal derivational suffixes to look at here. The categories that we are looking at is like to perform an action involving and. This is like just very vanilla verbing. It's like just, this would be the kind of stuff that you in English would do by just using a noun as a verb, like to chair a session or whatnot. If you just want to have like a miscellaneous meaning connected to the meaning of the noun. Then we've got transitive verbs, verbs denoting becoming something. Factitive verbs, the transitive counterpart to this, verbs denoting making something. Frequentative verbs or iterative verbs, this is a derivation denoting that something happens repeatedly. Reflexive verbs, the denoting that something is like the subject is also the object. I mean, you all know what you're linguists, you know what reflexivity means. We have had it before. Causative verbs, making somebody or something do something. Momentary verbs, doing something for a short period of time. From the perspective now, I have to kind of apologize that the ordering here, as we did in the textbook, is not optimal, but it's not problematic enough for me to want to go back and change it, because we haven't really categorized them properly. Because the rough categories that we could create here is, especially with the verbal derivation, we have derivation that pertains to verbal aspect, like the internal structuring of the event, frequentative, doing something repeatedly, momentary, doing something for a short time period. And then we also have those derivational suffixes that pertain to the valency of a verb. So how many slots for how many participants there are. And this is kind of some messy nonsense to have frequentative and then momentary and the two valency, two changing ones in between. But yeah, so it's arbitrary. So we're going to look through individual derivational suffixes, many of which we have already met, but good to systematize them anyway. And I believe there are some in here that we have not explicitly discussed, where we have seen verbs derived from them, but I don't think we have discussed them all yet. And for everyone, I'm going to have a table with some examples. And I want you to I'll show you the base verb and the translation, and you should form the derived verb and give a rough translation where it is possible. It's not always possible to give a fully literarily perfect translation for especially momentary and frequentative verb forms, but yeah, you get it. Okay, so to perform an action involving N, the ordering that we have in the exercises is Valentina, Sonia, Luan, and Sandra, and then back to Valentina. I think I mostly have 5 examples, so it's going to shuffle through the ordering a bit. So this is primarily a denominal suffix, and the verbs creates verbs of the second conjugation class. This we can say as a general rule that derivational suffixes in Mari generally create verbs of one specific conjugation class. There are some isolated exceptions, but this is something that is systematic enough that I'm comfortable calling it a rule. Even if we can find some exceptions. Okay, so we start with Valentina.
Okay, so we have tam, taste, and tamlash, also to taste.
Yep. And Sonia?
Aklash.
Mhm.
And I would say something like to evaluate.
Yep, very good.
To assess.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can also be value in the figurative sense, like, oh, I value my friend very much, or something like that. Then Luan?
Surat and suratlash to paint.
Yep, very good. Then Sandra?
Salam and salamlash to greet.
Yeah, very good. And back to Valentina.
Then yamdelash to prepare, to get something ready.
Yeah, very good. So an additional important function of this suffix is that it is also used to integrate Russian verbs into Mari. So if you have, I'm not sure if the stress is right on this. I want to check that. Yeah, so if you have a Russian verb and you want to integrate it into Mari, you take the Russian infinitive, you get rid of the palatalization that you have at the end of it, and you put lash on it, and you have a Mari verb. And this works like, especially in spoken languages, is extremely productive. That you can do it with things like googlit to Google, googlit lash, no problem. Maris will understand what you're doing. Okay, and these two, Sonia and Luan, still?
Organizovat lash.
Yeah, very good.
And then transkribirovat and transkribirovat lash.
Very good. Be careful or mentally prepared. In Hilmari, they do it a different way. So that's sometimes a bit shocking that in Hilmari, with Russian verbs, they base it on the flectated forms, which with the ovat verbs in Russian is a bit tricky because they have two stems there, that this ova disappears in them in the inflected form. It's like organiziruju is I organize, and then they take organizirui as the stem, and then they add ash to that, so it becomes organiziruyash. So this is the standard in Hilmari. You might also encounter it in Mari dialect at some point. So don't be surprised if you encounter Russian verbs without the L. Okay, that's so the L is this is the Swiss Army knife verbalizer, the thing you use when you don't know exactly what you need. Now we're going to look at transitive verbs, verbs denoting becoming something or obtaining a quality or something like that. Where the first one we looked at was ang, first conjugation, and this meant both, like in it very often it is the verb counterpart to the derivation, the adjectival derivation suffix an is like to take up a quality, to become e. And sometimes, especially when connected to adjective or stems, it just means to become the denoted adjective. We'll see on the specific example sentences. So we start with Sandra on this one.
Kühl, stone, and kuanash, to turn to stone.
Yep, very good.
Okay. Lopka, wide, lopkangash, to become wider or to widen in an intransitive sense.
Exactly, very good. Then
V and viyangash, and it's to empower, to strengthen.
Then Luan.
Oksa and oksangash, and I don't know, probably some really metaphoric way of saying to become rich, or yes, I don't know.
Exactly. To come into money, sort of, basically, to become moneyed or so. Like, I don't know, like you say, after my great-grandfather died and left me his fortune, I was bemoneyed or something like that. I mean, of course, you'd never say this with a verb in English, but you can in Mari. And then Sandra?
Shishka and shishkangash, to become someone's daughter-in-law?
No, this is in the tricky thing. It is to get a daughter-in-law. That is like to become with daughter-in-law.
To be daughter-in-law.
Exactly. So this is something what like the parents of somebody getting married would say. And this is in some way you have to be careful with this. The meaning is a bit labile, that we have things with kyangash where it was becoming stone, but then we had like oksangash, which was not becoming money or so, where it was more obtaining something. And this obtaining function, obtaining the thing denoted by the noun, that is the more productive usage of an. In contrast to another suffix, which another highly productive suffix, which we are going to look at, but not as the next one, I believe, because the next one is lan, which is fairly similar to what we just looked at, just less productive. And we're starting with Valentina.
So we have chair, illness, and chirlanash, to fall sick, ill.
Yep. Very good. Sonia?
Verlanash. And it's, does it also mean like to take place?
Yeah, to be located.
Yeah, to be located, situated somewhere like.
Yeah. So not so much to take place like in the sense of to happen, but like to take a place or so.
Yeah, to be bound to a specific place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Luan?
So changa and changa lanash and like to how do you say this in English?
Just like
like
we didn't find a very good way to say
okay.
Just to become stingy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and the next two ones here, you can see this is like a not so fully productive suffix, so sometimes the meanings are a bit less transparent. So for the next two, this is Sandra and Valentina. If you don't already know the meaning, it can be a bit hard to guess, but you can give it your best shot.
Mut and mutlanash, and I remember that we had this. Is it just to talk to one another, or was it?
Exactly. That's exactly it. So it's like talking, but stressing the reciprocal nature of it. And then Valentina, if you know it, or if you can guess it.
I remember it. I'm not sure I understand, but okay, it's a koish-lanash. But does it mean to like, I don't want to say fake, but to take up a certain attitude?
That's it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. It's like basically to show oneself off, to be like a bit of a diva and the such. Yeah, so that's like, if you didn't know that, it's not fully predictable. Okay, now we come to a highly productive one again. And this is M, and M is the one that really means fairly systematically to become X, Y, Z. So it's like if we had Cheshgemash, which we don't have here, that would be then to become a daughter-in-law, what the person actually getting married would say. Okay, and we start with Sonia.
Osho, white, and ocean mash, to become white, to whiten.
Yeah.
To become
turn white, something like that. Then Luan.
Nela and Nela mash to become heavy.
Then Sandra.
And Sai mash to become good.
Yeah, to improve or so. Yeah. Then Valentina.
Then uemash to renew oneself itself. They are very similar to Finnish, this uusiutua and such. Yeah.
And then Sonia.
Easy is a mash, and like to downsize or to shrink or to become smaller.
Exactly. Yeah. So if the dividing line between this one and the ang that we just looked at seems a bit fuzzy, the Maris agree, because you will have a lot of interplay between these. And as a general trend, these M suffixes are more popular towards the west and the ang suffixes are more popular to the east. And the further towards Hilmar you get, the more M you have and the less ang you have. So you have like this sort of a conspiracy of factors that on the one hand you have these semantic differences between them, but then you also have a dialectal difference and they interact with one another. Okay, we're not quite done with transitive verbs because we have another more marginal one, which is to say that it is used in combination with occurs in a few select stems. You don't have to actively form it, but you should understand and recognize it when you encounter it. And Luan was up next.
Kas and kasestash to like become evening.
Then Sandra.
Shoulder and Schuldestash to cheapen.
Yeah, to become cheaper, exactly. Then Valentina.
Then motorestash, so to become more beautiful, grow in beauty.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and one more. I think it was the last one. Where often we have a situation where we will have pairs of verbs, one with g and one with t. In this case, we can still see what they're derived from, but we have some forms where we have forms with g, where you cannot like identify a nominal stem in there anymore, but you also have a counterpart with t. And so they're both derived from a stem that is not used anymore in modern language. So you'll often have pairs like this. But here we have some examples where you can still see how it is attached to a nominal stem. And we start with Sonia.
Lavera, which is dirt. And I'm not sure if there is the stress on the last vowel, which is lavera. Is then the infinitive laveragash or lavergash?
Lavergash, yeah. This
lavergash,
is not
and to become dirty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Luan.
Umil and umilgash to become like dark, I guess.
Yeah. And Sandra.
Susir and susirgash to be wounded.
That's it.
One question: is the final vowel always cut off, or?
I want to say yes, but also the suffix is not productive enough for me to feel comfortable making such statements, because this is not a suffix that you on your own accord would be attaching to stems of your own. But it strikes me as a normal thing. But I would have to now check in the way that I should have the dictionary open over here. I'm going to just see if there are if there are verbs that end in ag, derived stems ending in agash. No, it seems to always disappear. Yeah. At least as far as a quick peek into the dictionary could tell me. Okay, so that's it for the transitive verbs. And the next category we're going to look at are the factive verbs. This is basically just the transitive counterpart to these. And the first one we're looking at is the d and the t, the one that you will know from Uralic languages far and wide. There is also a t as a factive marker in Turkic languages, but no etymological connection is assumed there. Okay, wait. Yeah, Sandra was last, so it's Valentina.
Yeah, it's my turn. Yeah. So loom name, loom dash to name.
Yep. And Sonia.
Gul connection, gul dash to connect.
Yep. So Luan, it's a bit tricky to translate the next one.
So umil and like umil tash, I think it means to shade.
Yeah, umil tash, it's not predictable. So I'm sorry about that. And then Sandra.
Kader and kader tash.
Yeah, flip of a coin, kader tash. Yeah.
to bend,
Yeah.
to curve.
Yes, sorry.
Is there any way to predict if it's D or T? Because I would have said it looks like liquids, but not really with kill dash.
No. The only way that there is to predict is that there is a closed set of verbs that want a T, like these, and then also pourtage from pourage, voltage from volage, to like bring down from to go down. Pourtage was to bring in from pourage to enter. So there's a closed set of verbs that want a T, whereas the D ending is somewhat productive in combination with, well, we'll get to it as a causative marker. But so basically, if you know it's with a T, then with a T, and otherwise D, which of course didn't work here, but yeah. Okay, that's all that we have for in the factative branch. We have a few frequentative markers, and like when we have these different verbs in these different categories, the exact fine differences between them, I'm sure they exist, but I can't really give you much intel on them. So the first one that we had was L, first conjugation, and wait, who did the last one? Sandra. So it's Valentina's turn again, and yeah, and see if you can do a nice sounding translation. If not, we know what frequentative is. So yeah.
Okay, so ishtash, to do, ishtelash, it would be to do regularly, often, repeatedly.
Yeah. Then Sonia?
Limdash, limdalash. It's like to give names, to give titles.
Yeah. And this is something that, like in English, actually, this now it starts having a pejorative meaning too. That it's like calling somebody a name can be we give somebody a name, but calling somebody names is like insulting them, finding like various ways to make fun of them. And it's likewise in Mari, that lumdash would be like you give your cat a name, and lumdalash is like teasing somebody, making fun of somebody. Then Luan?
Chongestash, to fly, and chongestilash, to fly, but like regularly.
Yeah, or also it can also be fly regularly, fly around, something like that. Like you would especially like use it if there's like a mosquito flying around your head, then chongestilash would present itself. Yeah, and I mean it's flying around and it's sitting down and then leaving again, etc. Okay, then Sandra?
Shundash, to put, to place. Shundelash, to put down, pick up again, something.
Yeah, it can also be to arrange. Like if you're saying it that you have a whole thing of silverware in your hand, and you're saying you're going to place them around the table. So you're going to do the act of placing it over and over again. Silverware is probably a bad example because that would probably be pishtash, but like cups maybe. So.
Is that but that isn't used for like setting the table, isn't it? That was with pogash.
That was like Üstenbake pogash. That's like a set phrase for setting the table. But if you want to specifically say, oh, I have these mugs here or cups or whatever, and I'm going to place them on the table or so, then you might use shindelash.
Okay.
Okay, next one we had was ed, the second conjugation, and yeah, now we're having 4 each, so Valentina has to start every time.
Okay, it's okay. So koshtash, koshtedash. So koshtash is to go, and koshtedash to go around, wander.
Yeah.
Liash and liadash, and it would be something like to happen over and over again.
Yeah, it's like something like that happens all over again. If you want to say like such things happens in life or so, then you would use liadash. Okay, then Luan?
Ushalash and ushaletash, and like to, I don't know, like sell, probably on, no idea.
Yeah, it's like these are impossible to translate, don't worry about it, but it's like you would use it in different contexts. Like ujalash, you'd say like if I'm selling my car, you'd use ujalash. But if you say that you've registered on eBay or Willhaben or whatever there is in your country, and you're selling stuff on it all the time, then you would use ujale dash. Right, then Sandra?
Puash to give and puedash to hand out.
Exactly, hand out, distribute, or whatever. This is something that it's less codified in Mari than it is in other Uralic languages. Like in Komi Permiak, you can even find this in the grammars. But this is also connected with plural marking or so. That if you have like just a subject, an object, and a verb, and it's not frequentative, you'd usually mean one thing, like I eat an apple or I sell a car or whatnot. But if you have subject, object, and then a frequentative verb, it is usually also implied that you have a plural object, that you are selling many cups, you are eating many apples, you're buying many potatoes or whatnot. And that this plurality is then it's like communicate by the verb without any explicit marking on the object itself. Okay, another frequentative marker. Oh, 3. So we're going to end up mixing up the order. But this time we still start with Valentina.
Okay, so kalasash to say, kalash to tell, to talk.
Yeah.
Visage, kalash, kalash. Yeah, it's to measure.
Yeah.
Again, like repeatedly.
Yeah. You don't no need to worry about the translation. Same with the next one, Luan. Don't worry about translation.
Okay. So vash and so kalash.
Yeah. It's again just like the context. You would use them in different contexts. Like Sovash is like we applaud at the end of the play, and Sovkalash would be like throughout the play, whenever exciting things happen, people would applaud or so. But context like that. Okay, another one, and now we start with Sonia. So this is esht with the e, not always 100% of times occurring.
Wasn't Luan the last one? I mean, I can start and then Valentina could go.
Sorry. I can't count.
No, it's fine. I mean,
it's Sandra's turn. Yes.
Shilash to break, to chop. Guessing with an e, because otherwise it's a bit of a pain.
It's
okay.
It's done.
So, not with an e. Yeah, to break, to chop, I guess.
Yeah. So again, like just context, if you're like you're breaking one piece of wood in half, or you spent the morning in the yard chopping wood. So okay, then Valentina, one where we actually know both forms.
Okay, so we have kolash and kolishtash. So kolash to hear and kolishtash to listen.
Very good. Then Sonia.
Lingash and lingashtash, which would be like to rattle, to shake again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. With an e, it's not predictable. I'm sorry about it. And then last one, Luan.
And then shuash and shuashtash and.
Yeah. Again, no good way to transmit this. I mean, think back to like when you come to things like frequentative or whatnot, think back to this aphorism by Roman Jakobson that, well, people that learn linguistics with me, so Luan knows this from my classes, is that, so Roman Jakobson was a linguist working, like big name back in the day. And he was, when talking about Russian aspect, he said the languages differ essentially not in what they can communicate, but what they must communicate. That like that as a linguist, you reject the whole notion that, oh, this language is so expressive or blah, 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 that it's not like it is impossible to talk about this topic in this language. Like like often you have simplistic notions like that, oh, Finnish doesn't have grammatical gender, so that's why Finns have a different concept of gender. So of course, simplistic nonsense, because you can talk about gender in Finnish, even if the language doesn't have grammatical gender. But Jakobson is saying that sometimes languages just force you to denote a certain category, like aspect in Russian. It's not like there is no way to communicate these things in like English or whatnot, but in Russian you have to always decide if something is perfective or imperfective. Likewise, differences between frequentative that we have, it's like often we can find ways to express these, to denote these differences in English, but we just don't have any systematic mechanism for it. Whereas Mari and many other Ural languages do, and where it becomes then sort of like if it is appropriate, you should pick the right form, but don't worry about it if you can't really convey it in translation properly. You have context and whatnot conveying it. Okay, so that's it. Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Okay, we have like 4 different frequentative suffixes.
Yeah.
Is there, do verbs just have a preferred one?
Yeah, that's how I would denote it. What I haven't done, which would be interesting, is look at if there are cases where we have frequentative forms in the dictionary derived from the same stem using several suffixes. And then we could look at if there are some specific differences between this. But yeah, this would be an interesting thing to do that I have not done. Yeah. Okay, so reflexive. Where we have discussed alt many times, and I think I have also told you about the time that when I with a colleague was at the yearly meetup of the Association of Linguistic Typology and gave a talk. We gave a talk about valency changing operations in Uralic languages, and I especially talked about alt here. The Association of Linguistic Typology, of course, is abbreviated as ALT. So the conference was ALT. So I was at the conference called ALT talking about ALT, which was a moment of just peak meta-ness that I accomplished without having planned for it. But yeah, okay, so ALT. We know this one. And, but I've forgotten who was. Yeah, I think Luan was last, so Sandra starts. Mm-hmm.
Kildash, to connect. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. And Kildaltash?
Kildaltash, yeah.
Kildaltash. Yeah, to connect, but transitive.
Yeah, or like to be connected, to connect oneself, whatever, depending on the context.
Other way around, sorry.
Yeah. Right, then Valentina.
Vosage, to write, vosaltage, to be written.
Yeah, and it can also be reflexive in the sense if it is like to subscribe to something, to write oneself into like a book or something like that. There are contexts where that works too. Yeah, then Sonia.
Pochash, pochaltash, to be open.
Yeah. And then Luan, the last.
Then mushkash and mushkeldash to wash like oneself.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so in the domain of reflexive verbs, this is the only one we have here, as it's a pretty dominating one. Causative, we've also looked at these, but we can have another quick repetition. We've looked at KT, grade 3, so we're changing the ordering a bit again. And so we're starting with Sandra.
Irash, to become warm, eritash, to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have onchash, onchiktash. So onchash is to look and onchiktash to show.
Mm-hmm.
Shonash, to think, and shonektash, is it like to make think, to persuade? In this meaning?
Well, to make somebody think about something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. So, and now back to the DT, which we already saw in its D nominal usage, where I called it a factive marker, and now we're attaching it to verbal stems where it is a causative marker. And now the thing that I was blabbering about before is actually relevant, that we have some specific stems where it has a T that we know as a finite number, but it's not productive in that function. It is, however, productive in combination with the transitive derivational suffix an and m, and in combination with those, it's always the. Okay, so we start with Luan.
Sholash to boil and sholtash to boil, but transitive.
Yep. Then Sandra.
Purash to enter and purtash to enter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like when it comes to transitivity, is another thing where Roman Jakobson is smiling upon us from above. That it's like we don't have to indicate transitivity in English, but usually in Mari or Russian or whatnot we do. Okay, then yeah, back to Valentina.
Okay, lopkangash to become wider and lopkandash to widen, transitive.
Yeah.
Viangash to become stronger and viangadash. So that's something I mentioned before, because I think it was also my turn with this verb. It's like to empower, to make stronger.
Yeah.
Like
to strengthen,
itself,
to make stronger.
Yeah, reflexive.
Yeah. Then Luan.
Then Nelemash to grow heavy and Nelemdash to make heavier.
And Sandra.
Sayamash to get better. Sayam dash to improve.
Very good.
I'm sorry that I asked this again. What you said at the beginning before we had all the examples now, the distribution between D and T, but I was still busy looking at the other D and T thing.
Okay.
Missed it.
Basically, the T is not productive. The T is only used in a small set of words. Many of them are quite common, like purtash, sholtash. I don't have it here, but voltash to lower, from volage to go down, etc. In contrast to that, the D is productive in combination with the transitive suffixes ang and m. So it's like if you are forming a word of your own using the, it's the, because T is only used in like a closed set.
Thanks.
Okay, so now we're going Turkic. So this is a Turkic suffix that is used in combination with so many Mari words that it's become pretty common here too. And we're starting with Valentina. Can't hear you, Valentina. I can't hear anything. Is a problem?
And now,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, I need to stop playing with the cable when it's my turn to speak.
Okay.
So it's Yomash to become lost and Yomdarash to lose.
Then Sonia.
Chaplanash to become, to enjoy fame, and Chaplandarash to become famous, but it's like probably not, because it should be causative. So I'm not sure about the translation.
Yeah, like we went for to glorify. It's like,
okay.
Yeah, like if exalt or something like that. Like if you are making, like you're talking about somebody who did heroic feats and you are praising them to the skies or whatnot. Right, then Luan.
So kuanash to be happy and kuandarash to make happy.
Very good.
Shijash to feel, to sense. Shish tarash
Very good.
to I can't come up with a pretty translation.
Yeah. It's not 100% predictable. This is like to notify, to inform.
Okay, yeah.
And also in a very like prosaic sense, like the authorities informed me about my about this or that. Okay, and then Valentina.
Then umelash to understand, umiltarash to explain.
Yeah. And here we see that it's also not fully productive, because I saw Sandra thinking, probably thinking, is it liquids versus obstruents with the voice, if it's like the or t. And yeah, I mean, usually it seems to work that way, but then you have umultarash rather than umultarash. So yeah, I have no explanation.
I was actually thinking like, okay, we still have 2 verbs left. So maybe the last 2 ones are gonna be with T.
Also a good way, a good analysis model. Okay, so momentary verbs. Now we have the other alt, the second conjugation alt, and we wait one moment.
I was last.
Yeah, yeah. So Sonia starts.
Ganache and kanaldash to relax.
Yeah. Then Luan.
Then shonash to think and shonaldash to think, but only for a while.
Yeah. And then Sandra.
Wuchash to wait and wuchadash to wait a little.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, this is again like where it's like contextual differences where you will use the one or the other. Like if you are waiting at the bus station for your bus, then it's wuchash. But if you're going with a friend, your friend is going too fast, you say, hey, wait a minute, let me catch up. Then it will be wuchalte, wuchalte. When you just want somebody to wait for like 5 seconds or so. Okay, then we have also had al, first conjugation, and we start with Valentina.
So we have morash to sing, moralash to sing a little.
Yeah. Then Sonia.
Shugash and shugalash.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in Czech, we would have a very nice way how to express it with the help of a prefix. Mm-hmm. So we have start and poststart. Yeah. So it likes to stand a little, like to wait a bit. Yeah. In one place, not sitting down or whatever.
But here we are actually with al also making something. We're making it telic in a way that it is. We took a status verb to stand, to be in this position, and we gave it the meaning of to go into this position, like to stand up or to go and stand beside a tree, something like that. Yeah, and then Luan.
So on chash to look, to see, and on chalash to look.
Yeah, yeah, like to have a glance or however we would do it. Okay, so that was a marathon session of verbal derivation, but we are through it. And if you at least passively recognize all of these suffixes, you should have a fairly good chance of finding what you need in the dictionary. But anything here that like forms that are not formed with a, like if we have a derivational suffix that is not 100% productive, we try to include it in the Mari English dictionary where relevant, the derived forms. For productive morphology, it was always we decided on a one-to-one basis if we want to include a derived form or not. Okay, any questions about derivation in general? Because this is not just the end of verbal derivation, this is the end of derivation for our review. Okay, because then in chapters 36 and onward, we're going to look at, we're going to have another look at other forms of word formation like conversion and reduplication, things like that. So we have a few notes on word and word usage in this chapter. Hopefully nothing that is going to be overly strenuous after the marathon session we just went through. First one is names of countries, where we created a map of, it's also in the textbook, of Europe with most of the countries drawn in. We decided not to include micronations because that would get a bit obnoxious. Sorry, San Marino. But we did have Malta and Luxembourg. They still made the cut, just barely. If you know Russian, most of these will be fairly transparent. I mean, as is usual, like people like in languages, you have special names for the people with whom you have direct contact. So the Maoris have own names, so to say, for the Tatars, where the Swas term for the Udmurts, Odo, and the such. But I mean, you wouldn't expect for there to be an own Mari name for Portugal or whatnot. So generally, they are taken from Russian. The one example that we have here is that sometimes Maris, especially Maris that have done something with Finno-Ugric studies, like to use, for example, Suomi for Finland. Well, it's something I find it a bit amusing when it comes to terms for the languages, that especially like you will have people talk about Suomi ilme, Magyar ilme, Eesti ilme for Finnish, Hungarian, and Estonian. And I find it amusing in the sense that Finn, Wenger, and Eston are pronunciation-wise fairly easy for Maoris, but Suomi has, okay, that has a diphthong. The Mari speakers don't know that. Eesti has a long vowel. Mari doesn't have voice distinction, and Magyar has then the sound of y that Mari doesn't have. So it's like by trying to keep things Finno-Ugric, they are using forms that are especially non-native for Mari, so to speak. Okay, but be that as it may, it's good to be prepared to encounter those forms too. One thing to remember here is that if we have something like Polsha, Poland, or Ukraine, or Litva, no, let's skip that one because there the stress is questionable. If you have like Polsha with the unstressed final A in inflection, if you say in Poland, you say Polszysto with the A is reduced to an E. Yeah. Okay, quick note on ja, which we have here as or. This is a conjunction that occurs, that has a double occurrence. It can have a double occurrence. You can have ja, they wave at them with their scarves or hands, but sometimes you will also have a double occurrence of it. Ja tolat, ja ottol. Either you come or you don't come. Two options or so. Unless I'm mistaken, Valentina, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ili in Russian also does the same.
Ili. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you can have just one Ili or you can have a mirrored Ili. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, and another occurrence of where we have like a mirrored element is kö, who. When we can also have it in a sense of some others if we have mirroring, like kö, kelsha, kö, vashtaresh. Some people are for it, some people agree, some people are against it, etc. Yeah. Not much more I can say about this. We're going to have examples of all this in the text, and we can discuss them then if they are unclear. Verre, stress mark missing in the header here. It's always a stressed E. This is like, okay, the categorization of this word is debatable. We are calling it a postposition, but it is not productive. You can't attach it to any stem. It is only used in combination with a small set of stems. And we've already encountered some of these, like Vesvere somewhere else, Turlevere in different places, Chulavere everywhere. And basically the occurrences here that you have, this is where you would expect vere. I haven't actually looked in the corpus. This would be a very easy thing to look in a corpus, that I want some word plus verre, but I don't want it to be vest, türle, chalasha, gal, shuko, yujo, i, kokum. Haven't done this yet. Could be done easily. Yeah, so generally, these are a few, you can treat this as a closed set of construction using verre that you should know. Next point we have is a bit of a revision of directional constructions. We have already discussed this, that if we have a squirrel jumping on a tree, whereas in English we would say that the squirrel jumped up the tree. In Mari, you would say that it jumping ascended it. So this is just that the fundamental way of structuring motion events in Mari is different than it is in English. Where like the typologist Leonard Talmy has been studying, has put forth a typology studying the difference between these structures in different languages of the word. So this is not something where Mari is extremely unusual. Like Mari is basically doing things as the Turkic languages do it and as numerous Romance languages do it too. We have just here a bunch of just like an overview again, and we have a comprehensive overview in the textbook too, showing you how we have like different verbal pairings where we always have the first element showing the method, the mode of transport, and the second one, the directionality. And critically, we have a distinction here between intransitive and transitive ones. That if we have like Ian lektash swimming leave, we have lektash to go out. But if we have shudarash to drag, a transitive verb, you don't generally say shudaren lektash to drag and go out. You would say shudaren luktash. You want to couple it with another transitive verb. And so here we have an overview of all the different directionalities that we have that one can distinguish in Mari, and what the verb is used in an intransitive and what it is in a transitive sense. Like inwards would be purash if you're swimming, like in purash to swim in, but purtash if it is something transitive. It doesn't always work that we for bonchash we don't have a transitive counterpart for that, or for ertash. And here the intransitive ones are also used in combination with transitive verbs sometimes, but it's not extremely productive. In generally, though, we can say that these are, as markers of directionality, fairly productive. I just, there's my colleague Christian Pischlöger and I just brought out an article in the last issue of Finno-Ugristik Forschungen, where we were basically looking at Russian verbs as a metric of productivity of different modifiers. So what we basically did is that we said that, okay, we have these descriptions of all these modifiers in converb constructions used in these pairings. Are they productive or not? And we both in Mari and Udmurt, what we did is to have a look at this is that we said, okay, we have these modifiers. Let's look at them in combination with converbs of Russian stems. Where we would just look at like verbs, like anything with like tlen and purtash or whatnot. And we basically found in Mari that basically all of these direction markers are productive in the sense that if you have some new verb for coming from Russian, to which you can in a meaningful way assign a directionality, you can do that. So it would, like in our corpus study, we ended up finding a whole lot of examples with verbs like, what is this verb? I can't remember the exact verb in Russian, but it's something like piktorit or something like that, which is like to dive in an airplane, like doing like dangerous maneuvers in an airplane. And we found that with all kinds of directional markers. Okay, yeah, I would have to look at the article, but my author copy is, I have not had my author copy in my hands yet. Luan has as a closed package because it arrived at the department when Luan was there. Yeah, okay, so this is a living system that we've got for the directionality marking, but it should be noted that we have some pairings denoting movements that don't really fit into this system and that you just have to learn as individual pairings. Things like tolen shuash, like coming, arrive, lekten kayash, leaving, go, mien tolash, going, come. We cannot assign this nice pattern that we had at the on the last slide to these. So these are just too best to be learned as individual collocations with a specific meaning. Staying in the domain of converb constructions, looking at auxiliary constructions now of the spectral persuasion. This is something that I already announced last week, but now we are actually officially looking at them. These three verbs that we have, shogaltash, to stand something somewhere, a transitive verb. Pushtash, to lay something in a lying position. Shindash, originally shinchash plus the causative de, is to set something in a position. I was not sure now if Sandra had a moment of realization or was about to sneeze, or both. The first. Okay, great. So yeah, these are these three verbs that mean to put something in a position. They're transitive verbs and they differ in what the position are. And if we look at them in auxiliary constructions, they will always be markers of making something telic. And the differences between them are, and they're paired with transitive verbs, and the differences between them are hard to delimit. So Ivanovim adak škol direktorin kabinetske purten shogaltenet. Ivanov was sent to the principal office again. So like brought in. Like electing, like somebody was elected, electing put to stand somewhere. Or like building stand, like building something up or so. So yeah, so in these examples here, it's like if we want to draw a line between these different ones, the best guess that you have is the thing that I've already cited Klaus Schönig many times with this, what he in German called das Durchschlagen der Vollwertbedeutung, the sort of the lexical meaning of the verb breaking through or shining through or so. That even though these verbs are primarily used as spectral markers, that somehow the position that they indicate is still somehow conveyed. Like if Ivanov was very naughty and is sent to the director's office, probably they don't let him lie down on a divan and just like take up a very comfortable position. He was bad, so he's standing in the corner or whatnot. Or like the buildings that are built, and like these are, it's like implied that these are high standing buildings, or that are like at least a few stories high, of which you will then say that they are standing rather than sitting or lying or whatnot. That's the one thing. And then we have some examples where we just have to talk about like codified collocations, like shonen pishtash, to the side, literally to stand in place. And this is just a combination of arbitrary plus possibly subject to contact linguistic influences. Like this is something that I still want to study a bit more more systematically. But it is not like transparent why it is shonen pishtash rather than shonen shindash or shonen shogatash. It's just the way it is, and we just have to accept that this is the pairing that means to decide. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The three blocks that I had were shogaltash, pishtash, shindash. But yeah. So, or likewise, like to fall in love, it's just yaraten shindash and not yaraten pishtash or yaraten shogaltash. Can't give you a good justification, is just the way it is. Yeah. But what I am trying to say in all this is that you shouldn't try to find a difference in what a spectral value they convey, because the difference between them is not on that level, in my opinion. But optash here the difference is different. The difference is different. What am I saying? Yeah, this lesson has been going on for a while. Here the difference is on the, you can make a difference on the domain of aspectuality. Because the core meaning of optash. So optash was like to put to place repeatedly. It already has sort of this Aktionsart of doing something repeatedly in its core semantics. And if you use it as a in an aspectual converb construction, you are also using it to mark something that happens, that is done repeatedly. Like Tenar Kochkishem Molan Ishten Optenat. Why did you make so much food? And like not just, it was not just the cooking of one dish, you cooked all kinds of dishes. Or the bandits beat up Ivanov. If we say Ivanov and Bandit Lak Keren Optenat, they didn't just give him one punch, they punched him over and over again. So yeah, we are here. We have the repetition that is inbaked in the core lexical semantics of this verb is also there when you use it in an aspectual pairing. Okay, I'm very proud of my voice for having held out so long, but now it's time to get to the text. And this is now truly a contemporary text in that we commissioned it for this volume, and it was written completely new a few years ago. If it were like the only thing that makes it maybe seem a bit dated is that it predates the COVID pandemic, but otherwise, yeah, it's very modern. So Kizitse Sem Tunya Nergen a conversation about the contemporary word of melody, so the music scene is what we mean. And the ordering we have is Valentina, Sonia, Luan, Sandra, starting with Valentina.
Okay, so Sem Tunya Marikalikin Kizitse Ilishtat Kugu Verim Nalin Sugar. Music has a very important place in the current life of the Maris.
Yeah, also in the current life of the Maris. So this is like it's a sequel to the text we had last week.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Sonia.
Шанчеза, журналист, студент, семемастар влаклан навлаш онай, молан да кузе калык тушто семем арален коден, гертен да тудлан ингертен, у сымнан музыкам шочектен. Oof. I'm just looking. So the scientists, journalists, students, and like those interested in music, like music masters, are interested why and how the nation or the people were able to I can't remember the right word. I know what it means. It's like to
preserve is the...
preserve. Thank you. We're able to preserve the old melodies, and how I don't understand like Tuglan and Gerten, so it's like they lean on. Yeah,
leaning on them in the figurative sense, like leaning on the old melodies.
So, okay, so even though it's meant like in plural, it's used in singular. And new. Okay, so and actually make them into new music or create new music based on them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, music of a new type, like the Usanan music is the music of a new type. Okay, then Luan.
Šukjate ogel suomikic student vlak Mari Elishterlienit, Mari student vlak dene vashlinet. So not long ago, students from Finland were in Mari L and met Mari students.
Yeah, I just had to think, sorry, off topic, I just had to think of an American friend of my parents who was once in Finland and sent a postcard one which it said like Suomi and had like a village in the lakeland, and on the back of the postcard says like, I have no idea where this village Suomi is, but it looks really beautiful. Okay, sorry, Sandra.
Tyle waszli maște finste denvlak ik men jaar jodischen gesetze Mari sentunia nergenschen benet. In this discussion, the Finnish students asked some questions about the contemporary music scene, Mari music scene.
Yeah, very good. No, I just remembered what happened with that friend, because the postcard said Suomi, Finland. And being American, you think of the way you always would say like Denver, Colorado, or so. You always say the place name and then where it is. And so you see Suomi, Finland, you instinctively as American might think, oh, the town of Suomi in Finland.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, Valentina.
Okay. So Juho, tace Mari vlak mogai muzikim kolishtit. So what kind of music do Mari people listen to today?
Miklaj, kažna jeng škalanže kelšeše muzikan oera, ke klasik sinanem ke kushtelgo manman alie pop muzikan yörata akom kalık sim kumalanda. So each person according to himself or herself. Škalanže. So in each person, it depends with each person. Like each person likes something else.
That's exactly it. What it literally is like every person. Sorry, there's my mouth. Oira picks keltische Musikum, suitable music. Škalanže, it's just the dative form of the reflexive pronoun, like for themselves. Like each person picks suitable music for themselves.
So someone likes classic music. Someone I'm not sure about this for manman.
Yeah. So this
kushtelgo, it's like light music, so I would say like not classical, but something like easier to listen to, but not manman.
Yeah, okay, so the manmem, it's like from manash, to say, then manme, the passive participle, like named or so, and then accusative of that. And basically it is what one would call light or so.
Okay, thank
you. This happens fairly often. This like that you're an almost parasitic seeming manme is somewhere in there in a text.
So actually this yerata goes with that. So someone loves something that you would call like light music or pop music, and someone gets cheered up or delighted with folk melodies.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So like the Yarata loves or more likes here, that is then these are all objects of that verb here. Yeah, then Luan.
So Shuko Yengem Ishke konzertischkische Kalik Instrument ensemble Marikundempoga. So the like I guess it's like folk instrument ensemble called like Marikundem or like like the land of the Mars like gathers like lots of people to their own concert.
Yeah, to their own concerts basically. Okay, and yeah, Sandra gets the number, sorry.
No problem. Ensemble tijem in de shude kan dashle nilimshe eerste shoshin. The group was founded in 1984.
Very good. Then Valentina. Valentina?
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, sorry about that. Silne kushtimaslan pojan Mariel kugi-janish ensemble, shochmo kundemise kalikim vele ogel, molimat kwandara. So the Mariel State Ensemble, rich in beautiful dances, does not delight only kind of its own people, but others too.
That's exactly correct. And then Sonia.
Magaigana elishte tudoshke mastarlakshim unchekten ogel. Ispanishte, Francishte, Germanishte, damol vereat. So like I'm not sure if we have already spoken about it. I think it might be mentioned in previous lessons on Mugaigana. So like in some other countries or in whatever countries Mugaigana.
Yeah, it's like so this gana is like only, but also sometimes like an emphatic particle or something. It's like
in some countries.
Yeah, like in in what countries, sort of.
This I would say shke in this case is also emphatic, isn't it?
No, it's here. It's like the own.
Their own, so their own skill is not or was not is not visible, is not seen, or was not seen.
Yeah, it's sort of. It's like basically, it's like, oh, in what countries haven't they shown their own like their own skill? Their skill.
So like in Spain, in France, in Germany, and in other places, I think this is not quite correct because they just show it in their own way, not in the Mari way.
Well, I don't quite understand. They just show what in their own way?
The master or their skills, like they have their own traditions and way of showing them. So that's kind of like self-centered to say that they do not show it, but we do.
Yeah, no. I mean, the negation is more like of an emphatic thing. Oh, what? Okay. Yeah, like, oh, where haven't they shown their skills? Which it means that they have shown it in many places.
Okay, so now I understand it. Thank you.
Yeah. And as Valentina and Sandra were saying in the chat, that this is basically a very Russian construction. That you do the same things in Russian too. Like if you say like, oh, in my long career as a scientist, where haven't I been sent as on conferences or whatnot? Where this is not, it's a rhetorical question. I'm not asking like, oh, well, according to my notes, you have never been to Portugal on a conference. I'm more just saying it feels like I've been sent everywhere. Yeah. Okay, then Luan.
Mari Ellen ik en tosto ensembleshim tushem in der shude kumlo in der shimshe wait ieshte chume renet. So like the like oldest ensemble of Mari El was like gathered in 1939.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest ensembles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Ik en Tosto. Okay, great. Then Sandra.
Samarek Blaklan Mugai music kasha. What kind of music do the youngsters like?
Yeah. Hello, it's me, all young people. Okay, come on. Where is it? Here we go. Valentina.
Okay. Samerevlak Udlarakshim Turlo Gruppe Lambda Ensemblim Kolestit. Mutlan Mari Pamash Kumdan Palime Folklore Ethnography Ensemble Kachevlak Erenger Luman Folklore Ensemble Ervel Marie Shumatkeche Visvis Volgido Jalastat Shuko Ensemble Kolishcho Vlakim Kwandara Shoch Mover Potial Kundem Gich Kujenger Kundem Ise Mur Seskem Shenavil Kurik Marie Kalik Folklore Ensemble. So young people mostly listen to different bands and ensembles. For example, Mari Spring, the most known folk ethnographic ensemble, the Bridegrooms, Erenger, or a folk ensemble called Erenger, the Eastern Maris, the Saturdays, the Chamomile, Light, the very funny names. So also in different villages, several ensembles kind of delight listeners, such as Shochmoverso, like Birthplace from Potiao, and the Hill Mari folk ensemble Murseksem and Shanavil from Kujenger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just some quick notes. The translation was correct. Mari Pamash, Mari spring, but not spring as in the season, but like a spring of water, like where Erenger, it literally means like morning river or so. With Kachevlak, bridegroom it's correct, but Kache, it's also sort of like a very general, like very colloquial word for guys or so, like, or the boys, the blokes, the like Russian pani kind of is used in a similar sense. Yeah, and Shanavil, sorry about the stress, that's Hilmar for what in Medomar is Shonanpil, the rainbow. Right, and Sonia, who dodged a bullet, gets the next one.
Amorozovlak Klashtak and Palana, and who is the most well-known, or who is best known among the musicians?
Yeah.
Or like singers in this case?
Yeah,
singers.
The singers, yeah. And now we have like name dropping where we finally even know the people that are being name dropped. And yeah, it goes to Luan.
So Kushushap, Reisa, Danilova, Tatiana, Denisova, Ivan, Smirnov, Marie Kalek, Kwandarat. So like for like a long time, also Reisa, Danilova, Tatiana, Denisova, and Ivan Smirnov made like the Mari people happy.
Then Sandra.
Betrachtisch elaste Shukolulem Sem Alanste Palmelien, Volodya Matveev, Marina Sadova, Elvira Popova, Oleg Slavin, sorry. Rosa Iskakova, Damulat Chilastem Olenat Od Pitare. In recent years, many new names have become known in the musical sphere. Yeah.
Names?
Matveev, Sadova, Popova, Savin, Iskakova, and others. Something like to name just a few, I guess.
Yeah, well, literally it's like you won't get finished you won't even get finished naming them all. So basically you can't list them all. There are too many of them.
Okay.
And just a little note here is you might notice it looks maybe inconsistent that we have here Marina Sadova, but then here we had Marina as the in the dialogue. And this is just like the Mari stress pattern would be Marina. And like among Maris, when they speak Mari, they often do that. But it's like, it depends on situation, which version of the name you'd go for. Like if you're speaking Russian, you would go with Marina probably. And like here, this is like, you don't want, like people also have their personal preference if they want to shift the Mari, shift the vowel stress onto the Mari way of doing it. And I don't know if Marina Sadova, if she, when speaking Mari, is Marina or Marina. So, and if I don't know that, I don't want to assume her word stress. Yeah. So then Valentina.
Mariel radion hit paradistische tacheik erlaves lum jonga. So in the Mariel radio hit parade, there is basically a different name every day. It always changes.
Yeah. Then Sonia.
Mariel radionergen palanem tudumugai pasham Victora. Just Victorash. Yeah. So I want to know about Mariel radio. What work do they do there? Yeah. It's kind of like a bit difficult to probably translate Victorash into English.
Like
and
to carry out or so. Yeah. But it's fine translation. Right, then Luan.
So Mariel radio shkepashashim koktishem visimsha iestetengalen. So the Mariel radio started like its own work in 2005.
Then Sandra.
Kizil radio что-то Natasha Pushkina, Volodya Matveyev, Marina Glushkova, Valery Ocheyev, Namulat Tirshat. Nowadays, Natasha Pushkina, Volodya Matveyev, Marina Glushkova, Valery Ocheyev, and others. Yeah, Tirshat. I was a bit like, it's like try, make an effort, and it's
work
keep the radio up.
Yeah. Like basically they're investing their efforts there. Yeah, then Valentina.
Okay. Marie radio kalekim kažne yin kengejim yoshkar olase stadion lashte chumira durlo sinan koncertprogrammem onchekta. So Mariel radio, or every year in summer, Mariel radio gathers people in Yoshkar-Ola's stadiums, and they basically arrange different concerts, show, festival.
Yep. Then Sonia.
Radion tači šukovere kolštet, ja mangashte, ja pashaste, ja kornošto, ja stadionošto. So people nowadays listen to the radio, like this Mariel radio, in many places, either at home or at work or on the way or when traveling, and at a stadium.
Yeah.
So when doing sports.
Yeah. Okay, then Luan.
So Samarik Laken Shke Mari Diskotekisch Ulo. So that's like the youth has its own Mari disco.
Then Sandra.
Kalik Mari Diskotekisch Kumelen Kostesh Samarik Lakvele Oge. Ilash kat eter pogenat.
Mhm.
Wait. The people like going to Mari discos.
Uh-huh.
Not only the young people, but also the wait, what was the other? But also a lot of elderly people gather.
Mhm. Yep. Then Valentina.
Morisovlak, Mari Morim, Juratische Murektat, Kustiktat.
Mhm.
So singers make the fans of Mari songs sing and dance, or
Mhm.
get them to sing and dance.
Mhm. Then Sonia.
Mari diskoteeka tylo kafelaste da molo vereat erta. I'm not sure now about ertash. It's like to establish.
No, to happen, basically, to be carried
happen.
out or so.
Okay, so Mari disco are carried out, discos or Mari disco is arranged in different cafes and many other places.
Mhm. Exactly. And now the rest is all one sentence. Luan, you can decide if you.
No, I want to do the whole
Okay.
sentence. Okay. So, fin student blak shuku jodishlam rashemdisht da vara koncert dem onshikdisht. Peter skrip gadene Mari semem young altarisch anu accordion dene vengre musikum schoktimischer dene kustash tavatisch Ivika kusdesche dene fin student blakim dosto Mari semdege schumangdisch. So the like Finnish students like sort of clarified many questions and then like presented or whatever concert.
Mhm.
So Peter or like Peter wait, what was young altarisch again?
Like here it could just be to play like an.
Oh, so played Mari melody on the fiddle. Anu like made basically people dance or like like motivated to dance or whatever with like by playing Hungarian music with the accordion.
Very good.
Then Ivika like warmed the heart, or I always forgot how to translate Shumang Dash.
Like basically got people interested in.
Oh, so got people into old Mari music, or the Finnish students into old Mari melodies with the Kusle.
Yep.
So okay.
Yeah, very good. Okay, that's it. Any questions pertaining to the text? If they're not, then I'm going to stop the recording now for everybody watching at home. We'll skip a week and get to the exercises as soon as I find the button to stop the recording. Is it? A moment, sorry. Here it is. Welcome back. We're continuing with chapter 34. We are looking at some exercises, and the first exercise we have here is just translate into English. We are looking now at this additive clitic at being used as a conjunction joining joining whole clauses. And last week I mentioned the dangers of misinterpreting words ending with at, because at could be and all kinds of other things too. And we'll see if we manage to get it correctly here. I mean, of course, we have the spoiler that we know what we are working on, but yeah. Okay, and we'll start with Sonja.
Vid dene tulish da serde kmien tulishat shiplana and vid dolken. I just wonder, is it possible to reduplicate?
Yes.
The verb.
Yes, this is something we're going to look at again in somewhere between chapters 36 and 40. I don't remember exactly where, but we are going to talk about reduplication in a somewhat systematic fashion still. But for now, you can just translate it as it comes and comes or so.
Okay, and I have a question about mien. Not sure what it is. I mean, I can try to translate, and I will leave out mien, or at least like try to get to the basic meaning.
For a halfway okay translation, you can completely ignore mien.
Okay, yeah, fine. So it comes with water, and it gets until till the shore, till the bank, and shiplana, and there it falls silent. And in brackets, it's a wave. Yeah,
exactly. So this would probably be a riddle, and it's giving you the answer to the riddle here. Yeah, so about this mientolash. So miash, it's like we've translated as to go, to come, to go. It's a verb of motion, which is very tricky to, it is very tricky to delimit this from the other verbs of motion, which we have met with kayash and koshtash and tolash and the such. And last week we looked at pairings of converbs of one verb of motion with another that have like a unpredictable meaning, and I think we had mientolash as like get to or so. And I can't give you a good explanation at this point why exactly this pairing has these exact semantics. It's just something we have to accept. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up is Sandra.
Yeah, Sonja asking a question gave me the chance to look up the verb.
Yes.
Lumlumat yuchavlak yechimnalan turerash tumaltach. As soon as it snowed, the children taking their the skis rushed to the forest.
Very good. And lumat, what tense form is this, would you say?
Past tense.
That is, yeah, and which past tense? I'm sorry for these nasty extra questions when everything you said was correct.
I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm rolling my eyes at myself for still not knowing. I mean, especially in the first conjugation, I have no idea if it's the first or the second past tense. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's
the first, I think.
Exactly, that's it. Lumo is what it actually was. So second would be lumen, and if we were in the second past tense, it would be lum lumenat. But what we had here is lum lumo would be it snowed, and that then has the at attached to it. So it's like this. Oh, it just completely disappeared, victim of the of at. Yeah. So I'm gonna, with all of these in parentheses, then give what the actual form was that at was attached to. Okay, but sorry for all the extra questions when everything you said was perfectly correct. Luan is up next.
So Konzert bitte not Kalik Shala Nashtengalya. So like as soon as the concert like finished, the crowd started to disperse.
Exactly. And as much as I have been talking about like the difference between first and second past tense, I can't really give you an explanation of why it is here 2 times the first past tense, here second and then first. Okay, then Valentina.
Okay, so urok petishat tunemše vlak vigak mangishkisht kaisht. So after the end of the lesson, students immediately went home.
Exactly. So this is then also first past tense, pitish, second a second conjugation verb.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Sonia.
Jelu tuverem chirshat pisen lekten kayesh. So lekten kayesh, she went away.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about pisen and chirshat. Basically, I don't understand much in this sentence.
Okay.
So yellow, like as soon as something tuver.
So pisen is quickly.
Okay.
So then this is what we're looking at. And yeah, I can give you the vocabulary. Tuver is a shirt or a dress. And chiyash, second conjugation, is to put on an item of clothing.
Yeah, so as soon as she got dressed,
yeah,
put, I don't know, a shirt or whatever on, she left.
Yeah, exactly. So it was chiyash plus at. Okay, and then Sandra, the last one.
Peter kenjelet zayatkim ishtarstunyale. As soon as Peter got up, he started doing his exercises.
Very good. And kunyelyat, what without the at, what was the form here then?
Kenyele.
Very good. And that is which past tense?
Same as the last time.
Yes, first, exactly. So, sorry. There we go. Okay, we're sticking to this topic, but now we have to join sentences in a meaningful way, and we are starting with Luan.
So Moriso Morische Moren Petereshat then Onchishov lak Bravo Kuchkirashten Galich. So as soon as the singer like finished singing their song, the spectators started to shout Bravo.
Very good. And here again, this is something like depending on how much of a strange narrative you're going for, there would be different versions would be possible, but we're looking for the most straightforward one. Okay, Valentina.
Echan salish pureshat. I think it's a shke verishkije shinche. So as soon as Echan entered the room, he sat in his, or he found his place to sit.
Then Sonia.
Yucha uranish korjan lektat. And it's a yiltashish vlakdene mudash bija. So like the child left running onto the street or went onto the street running. And I don't remember what pijash is, but
pijash, literally it means to get stuck or so, but it's also used sometimes to start doing something.
Yeah, to start playing with his or her friends.
That's correct. Okay, then Sandra gets a minimal challenge sentence.
Tudu uder in bakke on shaljat. probably some kažem numalaš bošaš temlish.
Yeah.
What was in baka again?
Onto. And it can also be like here with looking, it's like at, basically looking. Somebody's eyes fell upon or so.
Okay. So as soon as the person that we don't know looked at the girl, at this girl.
It's actually ambiguous if it is tudo uderum or if it is tudo uderum backe on chayat.
Yeah.
I would go for that actually. Like he, she, they saw.
Okay, so he, she, they. As soon as he, she, they looked at the girl, he, she, they suggested to help, I guess, carry their bag.
Yep, exactly. And now Luan gets 0 challenge sentence.
Yalish tolamat peyashka kolkuchashkayam. Like as soon as I come to the village, I go to the pond catching fish.
Yep, very good.
Jeremy, I think the biash or word is with an asterisk and it's missing.
No, it's here.
Okay. I wouldn't have looked for that at the beginning when it was kind of like the last one with the asterisk. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so now we're looking at derivation, what all these various words, what they come from, originally intermediate steps. Like you can decide yourself how much of a deep dive you want to do. If you just want to give one ancestral word, or if you want to go all the way back to the root. And we start with Valentina.
Okay, so we have kugem dash to increase. And I guess it's the same as lum dash, so it would be probably kugem, the increase.
Yeah, there's
guessing.
There is it's from kugemash, it would be to become bigger, and that.
Kugu, right, big.
Exactly.
Okay, kugu, kugemash, kugem dash.
Yep. Right, then Sonia.
Purtash, and it's like to enter. I would say the base word is purash. And I'm not sure about the exact meaning, like to get into.
To go in.
Go in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like purtash and purash both could be translated into English as enter, but purtash is transitive, like enter data into the database or so. And purash is like to enter the building, to go into the building intransitively. Okay, great. So then Sandra.
Vashlialtash. Based on the suffix, I would say it's mutually, like reflexive, to meet each other, I guess. And it's from Vashliash, to meet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like technically it is reflexive rather than reciprocal, but that's how it's used, like German sich treffen instead of from treffen, like to meet oneself or so. Okay, then Luan.
So Kadagash, it's derived from Kadia, which means like cursed or something, and it means like to bend or to curve.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you see a worm bending itself, this would be a good verb to use. Okay, then Valentina.
Okay, kushtiktash, it's causative, so to make someone dance. And I guess it's kushtash, to dance.
Yep, very good. Then Sonia.
Peliklash, it's like to. It comes from the base word is pelik, which is a gift or present, and peliklash is to give a present.
Yeah, Exactly. It's a bit awkward to translate into English. It's like to give as a gift, to give as a present, to gift or so. It's like German schenken or Russian darit or so. And I'm guessing the Czech probably also has a word corresponding to this.
Darek a darovat or podarovat.
Yeah. Yeah. So the same stem like in Russian then. Okay, great. Then Sandra.
So Charneltash, from Charnash, to remember, and again something reflexive to
Have another look at it, especially the conjugation class.
And then I guess we're going for momentary.
That is correct.
So to recall or to...
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, so Charnash would be if you just remember something in principle, but if I'm asking you, hey, remember that time that we went to a park or whatever, it would be Charnalte kunam blah, 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 blah. Okay, then Luan.
So Silnestash, it means to become more beautiful. It's derived from Silna, beautiful.
Very good. Then Valentina.
Okay, Peraltash, if I'm not mistaken, it means to hate, but it has a reflexive suffix.
Do you want to have another look at it? Especially the conjugation class.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense with a reflexive, because it has to be transitive. So let me see what could be. L, is it just the L, right? So I guess there would be some.
No, it's you were right to say that it is alt, but remember that there are two alts. You went into the same trap that Sandra just went into.
Right. So we have the reflexive alt, and then we have the momentary
Yes,
halt.
exactly.
Yeah, right. So it's just I guess there would be a perage and a peraltash.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So like perage is like beating the drum in general, and peraltash would be like giving the drum one single whack or so. Okay, then Sonia.
Vashmutlanash. I think the base word is vashmut, which is like answer.
Yeah.
An answer, and I'm not sure if I can identify this anash, lan.
Lanash.
Lanash. Sorry, I'm not able to. Is it like? No, it would be like to give answer. Is it momentary?
No, I mean this is wait, let me before I say something nonsensical, let me check in which category we had it in the book. But it's a denominal thing. So it's like to do a thing connected with
like to give answer. So it sounds like momentary, but
no, not really. It's wait, let me see where we have it in the I mean, basically, it is like just to give answers, so to have a conversation. And we had it in the dictionary as translative, a transitive suffix, so something denoting a process of acquiring the quality or obtaining an item. Like it's semantically not completely transparent, but basically it is here just to do something in connection with the base word, like to give answers or so.
I'm looking into the explanation of the grammar, and there is this, we have the groups there, or there were the groups, there was the suffix L, and then there were translative verbs, and this was B2, translative suffix lan, and we had the example of mutlanash, which actually is the same in pink, I would say. It's just mutlanash.
Yeah, exactly.
So to give answer.
Yeah. Okay, then Sandra.
Orgictilar. From the base word orgash, to sue. Then we have a causative to make sue.
Yeah.
and then a frequentative.
Yeah. So this would be like if you have somebody sew a whole bunch of things for you, like like a whole bunch of socks or something like that, rather than just one thing, like a sweater or whatnot. Okay, Luan.
So then dash. So it means to like make oily. It's derived from dash, to become oily, which is derived from oily, and like butter.
Yeah. This is a case where then this is absolutely correct, but this is a case where the sort of the figurative meaning has become the dominant meaning, and the figurative meaning is to fertilize like a field or so. Of course, not with oil, but with other things that they don't want to name by name. Right, then Valentina.
Okay, so we have le plan d'arrache to come down with a causative suffix. So that would be to make someone calm.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that there would maybe a le planage verb to come down in intransitive.
Yeah. Remember when Sergei made this very idiosyncratic choice of telling the kids that they're going on a holiday before telling his wife, and they're freaking out. What he tells them then is like, "Hey, calm it, kids." Is what he says. It's le plan is le plan is Yeah. Okay, then Sonia.
Godelstash. It has something to do with running.
That's correct.
But I'm not quite sure what's the meaning behind it, if it's frequentative or is it frequentative? Yeah. Okay. So it's not something like run around or.
Yep, exactly.
And the base word would be probably kudash.
Kudalash. Yeah.
Kudalash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Here you have to be careful that there are false friends here, because kudash. But no, there's kudashash, which is like to undress. Which we had like when like undressing the child when the doctor was there. Yeah, then Sandra.
So Nigislautash, from Nigis, the base, the foundation.
Yeah.
Then probably a, what do we call it?
I didn't have a good
one of these derivations involving the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have a good name
base,
for it.
basically, and then a valency reducing out to be based.
Very good. Right, then Luan.
So Pairem Lash, it means to celebrate, and it's derived from Pairem to so celebration or a festival or something.
Yeah, party, all those things. Okay, right, then Valentina.
And we have poalash, to blow, and I'm guessing this is momentary. So to blow a little.
Yeah, exactly. Or like once, it could be like if you're going like puash would be like the wind is blowing, but if you're like blowing out the candles on your birthday cake, just do one quick blow, then that might be pualash. Okay, then Sonia.
Yodashash, and I think it comes from Yodash, and it's to ask.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure again about a frequentative or momentary. It would be frequentative, something like ask questions repeatedly.
Like to question, to ask a bunch of questions. Yep. Right, then Sandra.
Terstelash, from terstash, to jump. And what is that L? To go. Sorry, wrong. That L, it's the other L. Frequentative.
Yep.
So to jump around.
Exactly. And then Luan.
So Lui Kalash is derived from liash, to shoot, and like this is the also like a frequentative suffix. So basically to shoot, like
yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to skip number 4 just so that it doesn't go on forever. But yeah, here we would want to translate it into Mari, making use of the words we have here. Now we're actually, rather than me simultaneously trying to cook up explanations of when one would use a frequentative or non-frequentative form or a momentary or non-momentary form. This is just with frequentative forms. We have pairs of sentences where one of them wants a frequentative form and one of them wants a non-frequentative form. See if you can create them both. And let's do it that one person does one pair, so that it is that there is you don't have one person taking away the challenge from somebody else. Unless I'm mistaken, Luan was last, so it's Valentina's turn next.
Okay, so we have chungestash to fly non-frequentative and chungestilash to fly frequentative. So I think it goes Воктена era самолет влак тиштетушко чунгестилат, аэропорт Тора Огил.
Almost, it was correct, just wrong conjugation class. So it's chungestil.
Chungestilit.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah. And then, I can translate. So, basically, close to or in front of us or close to our place, planes always fly here and there. The airport is not far.
Exactly. And then the second one?
The second one then would be Kajk vlak Kechival Velish Chungestenit. So birds flew to the south.
Yeah, I just noticed this is a mistake. Chungestash is second conjugation. So this needs to be fixed. Okay, then Sonia.
Liash and Liadash. Ilash stem tidekok gana vele. Lien.
Yeah, Lien.
Lien. And the guy is talking ash. Karaliste Chichkuden Lieda.
Perfect. Translation still?
I'm not sure about the translation. That's why I actually got stuck there. It's like I am only, or this was only, or this happened only twice in my life.
That is exactly correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking like whether there is something more behind the sentence or not. I think that has been, or that is the influence of so many proverbs and riddles and so on.
Yeah.
And the guy Yeshtukenesh, I'm not sure about Chichkadash.
No, it's not a verb form. It's Chichkadan means frequently, often.
Frequently, okay. So this rainy summer,
such a
Yeshto is old.
Cold.
Okay. So such a cold summer is in Karelia frequent.
Yeah, such cold summers often happen in Karelia.
Okay. Thank you for your help.
No problem. So now it is Sandra's turn.
So Yudash and Yorushtash, to ask and to ask and ask and ask. Izi Yuchalan Chila Onai, Chilam Palineja Ere Alamom Yotish.
Very good.
Everything is interesting to little children. They want to know everything. It wants to know everything, really. They always ask something.
Yeah.
And then Ikimsha Mari compositor que lian Yodesh gin mom vashistet.
Careful, the person.
Yodam. What is vashistash?
To reply, to answer.
Okay. If I asked what is the who was the first Mari composer, what would you what would be your answer basically?
Yep, exactly. Then Luan.
Kalasash, which means like to say or to tell, and kalaskalash, like to talk, like with the frequentative suffix. So with a Juha kalasa milana poshalsta jolin tolam Finno-Ugristik. So Juha, please tell me what like I come by food like is in Finnish, and B kaskeda jot student lak ske elish nagen kushun da ongayen so kalas kalen kalas kalenit. So now so every evening foreign students talk like long and interestingly about their own like countries.
Yeah, very good. And then Valentina.
Okay, so we have kudalash, to go run, non-frequentative, and kudalishtash, to go run frequentatively. So echan pasha denetilze jeda moskosh kudalishtesh, and then erla ijevskish kudalam. And the first translation, echan goes to Moscow for work every month, and tomorrow I'm going to Ijevsk.
Very good. Okay, so next up, same thing, but now with momentary forms. Oh yeah, there are 5 always and 4 of us, so somebody always gets 2. But yeah, so we'll start with Sonia.
Ganache and kanaltash, so it's have a rest and to relax. Sorry, I would just have a look. Tikuze kanet.
Careful.
Tekuze kaneda. Knigam ludam chudarashkushtam malam. So how do you probably like polite plural form? How do you relax? I read books. I go to the forest or I walk in the forest and I sleep. And Aida is kanalna.
No, kanalt.
Kanal. I wonder which unit it was. It was imperative, and this is like a plural form, first person plural. Like let's relax a bit. Aida is Kanal.
There are
Sorry?
no own imperative forms. You just use the
Aida is is kanalt.
kanal. No, you just use the indicative forms of the first person.
Kanaltana.
Kanaltena, exactly.
Okay. Avara umbake pasham shtana. I wonder what this umbake here.
Here, further onward.
Yeah, okay, so like let's relax a bit, and after that we will continue with work, or we will work further on.
Yeah, exactly. This is it's a bit tricky to translate into. Oops. What was that? Something fell down. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to translate into English. Like German, it would be weiter, and I'm not sure. Probably maybe Czech has a word too that's just like continuing to do something. Like also in Russian, period would be used in a similar way. Okay, then Sandra.
So on chash and on chalash, to look, to see, and then to spot something, or
yeah, like to look one time more or so, and yeah.
So korenim vochimeshke onchich Shulashka
Yeah.
Varapurashka, so before crossing the street, first look to the left. Or is it right?
No, it's you're right.
First look to the left and then to the right. And then televisorim negonam oncho.
No.
I never watch TV.
Very good. Yeah, then Luan.
So vuchash to wait and vuchadash to wait a little. So ik shagat to them vuchana. So we have waited for him, her, them for 1 hour. And then which minute to them vuchaltena oktolgen to den dechposnak udalena. So we are still waiting for him, her, them for 5 minutes. If like they don't come, we like take off without them.
Exactly. Okay, then Valentina.
Okay, so we have a shonash to think for a while, and then shonaltash to think in a momentary way. So I think it's erlab marte shonalt.
Careful. The conjugation class.
Oh, I thought it's an imperative.
Yes, it is, but
shonalte.
Yes.
Okay, shonalte. Vara vashmutetim vucem. So you have time, or think about it until tomorrow, then I expect an answer. And then tidin nergen shuko shonanam. So I was thinking a lot about this topic.
Yep. Right, then back to Sonia.
Shugash and shugalash. Shugash is like to stand, and shugalash is like to stand around.
Or not really to stand around, like to stand oneself somewhere, to go to stand somewhere.
Okay. Kush, kurjat, getch. Getch ik minutlan. Okay. Shoga.
Shogal.
Okay, so it's the second one.
Yeah.
So where are you running? If you like just stay or stop and stand for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And teat csereteste like you also stand in a line, so teat csereteste shogoda.
Exactly. Yeah. A quick note about just this catch. I've already mentioned it's a borrowing from Russian. It's hot in Russian, and there like the sentences formed by these are tricky to translate, no matter what language you're coming from, be it Russian or be it Mari or be it Mansi, because Mansi, for example, also has them, and it's like a constant trauma trying to find way to translate this. But it's like, oh, if only for a minute, stop walking or whatnot, stay here. Okay, I think I'm going to skip over the next two because it continues after the same system, but the next one is just the difference between a non-causative and a causative form, and we have practiced this already. If you're feeling unsteady about this, as the students currently in the class or students watching this video at some undefined point in the future, you can do this, but I think it is more straightforward than it is with momentary and frequentative values, which one we choose. And likewise, oh, no, that's the last one of these. So now we have a little European geography quiz. And if you don't know the answer to a question, I can help you out, but I can only help you out in English, and you have to give the answer in Mari. And yeah, so first read the question and translate it. And we will start with, I believe, Sandra.
Podgorica mogaj Evropo jelen redolage. I'm trying to put this in a well-formed English sentence. Podgorica is the capital of which European country?
That is correct, yes.
Not sure if that was well-formed, but it does the trick. Podgorica Czernogornin Rudolage?
Chernogorian Rudolage. Yeah, very good.
So
I think
Podgorica is the capital of Montenegro.
Yeah. I mean, I think here it's fairly transparent what is going on here, that we have the Black Mountain once in Romance and once in Slavic, basically. Yeah, then Luan.
Mogaj elište Francouz, Němečta, Nederland, Jilme, Kugelschanisch, Jilme, Olid. So in like which land like are the like I forgot the term for like official languages basically are French, German, and Dutch. So I believe the answer is with Belgisch or
That's correct. Okay, then yeah, Valentina.
Okay. Sam kalik mogaj elašte ila. So in which countries do the Sami people live? Sam kalik Finlandište, Norvegište, Švécište, da Rosišto ila.
Rosište.
Rosište ila.
Yeah. So it's always the last full vowel that determines the vowel harmonic quantity. So, okay, so now this is a nasty one because it wasn't on the map, but I think we can manage. Sonja?
Европен en easy elže mukai. So what is the smallest country in Europe? I'm not sure. San Marino, en easy elže. Liechtenstein, no.
You were closer with San Marino. It's the other one that is encompassed by Italy.
Yeah, and I don't remember.
Vatican.
No.
Yeah. Okay, Sandra.
Europin en tosto metrojo kusto mogai olaste. Oh boy, that's a question for you, really.
I literally insisted we have this one in here. Yes.
Okay. What is where is the oldest metro, like subway, in Europe, and in which city? Europin en tosto metrojo Paris is there?
No. Ooh.
Shit. Let me think. It's not Paris. Where is it? Oh. Yeah, I was only thinking European Union. Sorry.
Yes. There's your problem.
European in tosto metrojo London is there?
London is still. Yeah. So if you want to look at like continental Europe, there's an ongoing debate about who has the oldest metro between Budapest and Istanbul. But I'm not going to take sides in this one right now.
Sorry, I have a question, Jeremy. Bit off topic. Are you a metro freak?
Yes. I mean, it's like I was completely obsessed with the Viennese metro system as a kid, like learned the line map by heart. And it was just like this undying trauma for me that the Viennese metro system had U1, U2, U3. Like when I was a kid, there was U1, U2, and U4. And then I was nagging my mother, where is the U3? Why is there no U3? You can't have a 4 and not have a 3. And she'd say, oh, don't worry, there'll be a 3. They're working on a 3 will come, and a 3 did come. But before they introduced a 3, they introduced a 6. And then it was like, okay, but where's the 5? And I actually on several occasions made my mother like go to the traffic, like to the ticket sales point and ask them why there is no U5 in the days before the internet. But they are actually working on the U5 now. Yes. Okay, but now we are coming to Luan.
Mogai elendumshim marlashke ian lande semen guza rashliash. So the name of which country can be translated to icy country to Mari. So Islandian.
Yep, very good. So then Valentina.
Okay, Mogai Evropo elishte jenshuko yoshkar upan yenk ila. So I would guess Irlandishte jenshuko yoshkar upan yenk ila.
Yeah, careful, N.
N.
Yeah.
And I didn't translate. So in which European country live the most ginger people? And I guess that's Ireland.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here a follow-up question, Sonia, we'll get to yours. Does anybody know in which Finno-Ugric nationality do you have the most red-haired people?
Yes, that's what I wanted to add.
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course you will have people coming up with various pseudoscientific explanations that there must be some ancient historical connection between the Udmurts and the Celtic people. And of course, there's it's like, it is not that weird a genetic mutation. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever to assume any kind of connection between just because people have red hair. And also, I mean, it's like there's so many genetic markers, and this is just like the one genetic marker that has such a tangible effect that people give so much weight to it. But yeah, okay, story for another time. Then next up is Sonia.
Mogaj kok Evropo elste velociped dene ennashuko kurelashtet. Nederlandeste, Daneste.
That is correct. At least this was correct when we checked, when we made the book. We checked it then. I have no idea if Belgium has come in at some point, but yeah. Oh, I am seeing a problem coming up, but yes, first, Sandra.
Okay. Setokarik Mugai Elashte Ila. Where do the Seto people live? That is indeed a problem. Because I do not know.
Estoniaste, da Rossiaste.
Oh, thanks for actually giving the answer in Mari.
Oh, sorry, I broke my own promise there. Yeah, yeah. No, so they live in the border area between Estonia and Russia. The next one is the problem where, yeah, our textbook has gone out of date, but it goes to Luan.
So, Evropo ushemish minyak el pura. So, how many like countries belong to the European Union? I honestly don't know the exact number.
So unless I am mistaken, it is 27.
Okay, so Koloshimit, yes.
Yeah, but we still have 28 here because we did not account for Brexit when we did this. So we were so happy with ourselves that we accounted for Croatia joining the European Union when that happened, but then Brexit came. Okay, so I have to fix this afterwards. Yeah, so number 9 is fairly simple. Insert the words exercise, and we start with Valentina.
Okay, so muro juk jatiste jatusto shergiltesh. So a singing voice maybe can be heard here and there.
Yeah. Then yeah, Sonia.
Ja yürüyüş ya Tushto?
No, I'm just this is what Valentina did or used in the last one. So you have these.
It's like and it rains. It doesn't make any sense to
It's
me.
not and, it's more like sometimes, sometimes sometimes
Okay, getcha on cha.
Yeah.
So sometimes it rains and sometimes the sun shines.
Yep. Then Sandra.
Yiltashem yatach ya erla tolesh. My friend will come either today or tomorrow.
Yep. And then Luan.
Spektakel godem onshishov lak ya shorted ya mostelit. So the during the show the spectators were crying as well as laughing.
Yeah. Okay, number 10, translating from Mari. I'm going to skip over this one well, what do you mean for now? I'm not going to do it at a later time either. Same with number 11, but obviously these are good exercises if you want to work on your active Mari competency. But we are going to do translating into English, and we are starting with Valentina.
Okay, so number 12, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so poshkudem 5 minut lan puren lektin. I guess my neighbor has left for 5 minutes.
Right, then Sonia, both lines, please.
Hello, kushte ulat, mengishte dolen purashen gana. So hello, where are you? At home. There is this stolen purashen.
Yeah, it's like to
So it's
get
just,
in.
I've just got home or something like that.
Exactly, that's it. Right, then Sandra.
Autobus da, minjar lan tolen shuesh, mi doyem vashliyash lektam. When, at which time does your bus get in? I will come to meet you.
Then Luan.
Ergem kevedishke kindilan mientol poshasta. So son, please like drop by at the market for bread.
And then Valentina.
Okay, my tudim tetla omvucho manin kalasish anush da lektin kaish. So I'm not going to wait for him or her any longer, said Anush and left.
Very good. So now we have a fairly long dialogue, actually. Question is if we want to read both the dialogue and then the little clip from news. And I think that's a bit too much reading and translating. So I think I'm going to skip over this one unless students say that you definitely want to do this. But this is like a very simple another dialogue that you can read. Yeah. So let's have a look at some auxiliary constructions, especially, and we're starting with Sonia.
Kovam edenak melnam kokulum kjesht opten. My grandma, I'm not sure what erdenak is, and then melnam and kokulum, these are the pancakes or whatever is made in the
pies.
kitchen. Yeah, traditional. Kjestash is bake, and optash is like to put.
Yeah.
So my grandma baked. Is it like for tomorrow?
No, erdenak is early in the morning.
Early in the morning, she baked pancakes and pies and gogglum, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so optash is just meaning she's doing a bunch of them, basically. Yeah, then Sandra.
Kinezm Baikal deke kularash shonen pishtenam ke me denem. Is that one of the construction where you're just putting a lot of thought into it?
No, it's like thinking put, which is it's one of those where it's just like something one has to learn as a standing phrase. It is like thinking, but in a more telic transformative manner, deciding.
Okay. So I have decided to go to the Baikal in the summer. Who's with me?
Exactly. Then Luan.
Onchal koshe mogai motoren serasteren shogaltenet. So look how beautiful the spruce is decorated.
Yeah. So, and this is the case where we have shogal tash, like to stand, like putting something in a standing position. In a spectral construction, why shogal tash rather than pishdash or shindash? Well, shogal tash is like to put something in a standing position, and that's what a kosh, a spruce usually does. So it's the original meaning breaking through. Again, Valentina.
Okay. Yochatim shokshirnrak chiktash kulash kilmikten shindet vet. So you need to dress up your child more warmly. Otherwise, he or she they will freeze.
Yeah. You let them catch a cold, basically. If you don't give your kid warmer clothes. Then Sonia.
Ekaterina Pavlovna kuk ergem shketen kushten shugalten. Ekaterina Pavlovna brought up two sons on her own. Probably, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was correct. Like just raised, and it's like kushta. It makes it more transformative, like the whole raising, like to adulthood or so. Okay, then Sandra.
Ončeć Romeo Julietam your attention then ale Julieta Romeo. Did Romeo fall in love with Juliet first, or Juliet with Romeo?
Exactly. And then Luan.
Ivan Chuchu saimasta unikash blaklan modeshim ere shkeak istil opta. So Uncle Ivan is a good craftsman. He like always like makes like toys for his grandchildren on his own.
Great. So we haven't done this for a while because we've had other things happening, but now we have a little a little clip from TV about Mari El radio, which is now something that we actually know of fairly directly. I'm going to take the picture out just so we have more room for more space for this text. And I'm going to participate in the translation. We'll start with Valentina, and then I'll always be after Valentina in the ordering.
All right. So Pialan ilishim tazalikim da kugu lektishim shke kolishcho blaklan tilana Mari El radio. So Mari El radio is wishing a happy life, health, and big or plentiful harvest to its listeners.
Yeah, I would assume lektish in a contemporary sense to be more figurative, like results or so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Microphone onchono Marina Chemesheva. So Marina Chemesheva on front of the microphone here.
And then now in the Nel e opla Republika Štna ilše kalak Mariela radio dena perla pomožaltež pašam štada radio što jongaša sem počeš malaš vozeš. Now more than half a year.
4 years.
4 years. I was thinking that it's too short time to. So now more than 4 years in our republic, people living in our republic wake up together with Mariel Radio. They work with the radio, and they go to bed. I'm not sure how to translate this radio što jongaša sem počeš. So after they hear the melody of the radio, or
like following, accompanying with, like they fall asleep to the melody that is playing on the radio. Yeah. Okay, then Sandra.
Čelgada samelik ude preveze get šogesho kolektivske tun somožo deč pozna ještě jater projektem ilšiš porta koncert vlakem vašim našim etara. There's some vocabulary I need, but I can start. Okay. Yeah, what was Shogesho?
So Shogesho is consisting of.
Okay. So the team, I guess. Consisting of old and young boys and girls.
Okay. Sorry, I was distracted for a moment. So shogasha literally means stand, but if you have something good, it is then consisting of. It's like similar semantics like you in German have with bestehen aus. Like your standing of certain elements means that what makes you up. And then it's cholgad dasamerik. It's like the like cholga is like bright, but also can be like figuratively energetic, and and young. So it's like
I thought there were two opposites here. So the energetic and young women and men.
Well, boys and girls, basically, or girls and boys. Yeah.
Okay. I know all the all the words on their own, but
yeah,
okay, not really sure how to make sense of this.
Okay, so we already have the subject, which was the collective consisting of bright, like energetic, and young girls and boys, like women and men, basically. Then let's look for a verb at the
Porta.
Yeah.
And portage was to bring in.
Yeah. Ilishish porta.
Bring into life.
Yeah.
Projects. I forgot what yater was.
Like various different.
Various projects. Is it always?
Still.
Still, damn it.
And then we still have this thing that if we translate this, then we have a whole well-formed sentence.
Except
except yeah, like it's without literally, but it can also be except, and in this context it's more like in addition to, like
in addition to their main work.
yeah, like their main tasks.
Okay, so a team of consisting of energetic and young boys and girls, girls and boys, whatever. Yeah, bring several projects to life, even next to their main tasks, concerts and meetings.
Carry out.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, then Luan.
Koncertšotišto olaškin radion etareme paremestische kalik reaction. So when like talking about the concerts, the festivals carried out by the radio or like are, or at the right there are always like or the people are always crowded at the festivals carried out by the radio.
Yes, that's exactly it. And how good a word for packed is sheng sheng. Okay, Valentina.
Okay. Jos kerolaste ilse vlakkiset mogai koncertiskajas oiren kertgin. Atteve rajonissa kaleklan olase artistin tolmijokugu pairem. So people living in Yoshkar-Ola can go to many different concerts nowadays, while in this area the arrival or the fact that artists or local artists from the city are coming is how can I say, it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically what it is. So what it literally is it's like if and this is like while, and so while the people living in Yoshkar-Ola can now basically, they can decide to which concerts to go. So like they have a large selection, but in the for the rural population, basically, the coming of an artist or like a musician from town is a big festivity, or so. It's a big deal. Okay, it's me next. Lach tudem Mari el rajon vydishish den Mari estraden murzojo vlak peleklat. And exactly this, the Mari el radio, I'm not sure if I said rayon or radion, the Mari el radio moderators and Mari stage singers, exactly this is a gift that they give. And then Sonja.
Milan retro mura concert programmam temlat. Lek uremstangem lambo Mari muran shirtnö fondashkajo purashosh Šleager vlakam memnan estraden metraže den samerek muras vlak jungaltarat. For them, or for those who like or who prefer or find interest in retro music concert programs, like Uramishtangen, so it's like my friend from like street.
No, almost. Okay, so let's element for element. It says to them, retro song concert program is offered.
Okay, so it's offered, or it's like they find interest, like Temlash is, I thought it's like to taste.
No, that's tamlash.
Okay.
Yeah, no, temlash is to offer. Like to them, a retro music concert is offered. And now we have the names of two songs. And so lek uremish tangem, it's an imperative form of a verb.
So like dash, go to the street or go onto the street, my friend.
Yeah, go outside, my friend, basically.
Okay. And lombo, it's like the bird cherry, which was on the list of the words. And this shirtne fundeshkajo, so it's like the golden font, or like this
yeah, it's like
golden font of Mari, Mari's song. And they belong to this, or they entered this font, and they are part of it. And this font of hits, which, like for us, the masters of the parade, or of the program, or of the estrade.
Not master. Yeah, sort of like the
Metrage. Yeah, it's like what is it? DJ
MCs,
or whatever. MCs,
yeah.
With young. So actually, these songs are performed with young musicians.
Yeah. By like the MCs and young singers are performing like this song, and it is a very complex construction here. The Schlager songs that enter into basically the canon of Mari songs, like the classics, basically. Yeah, are of our stage, the MCs and the singers perform those. Okay, then Sandra.
Notira paremiške turlu igutan jeng tulesh mulan manashkin tushto moru vrakim uemdime. But people of different ages come to these festivals. If you say why?
Yes, that is because this is
that is to say, okay. That is because old songs are renewed.
Okay, let's see you, Sonia. That is because they're
Tushto, not Toshto.
Yeah.
Their songs are.
But renewed was right. They're modernized in some way. It's new and cool somehow. Okay, then Luan.
Usual Toshto more of lakim den morena. So we sing and renew some old songs.
Yeah. Like we sing them in a renewed version, something like that. Right, Valentina.
Okay, Samirek vlaklanat tide motkochak kelsha kugu yenglakat ivertenit notidem kuzeu melash liesh. Teve unchash tolsho kalekin shincha unchal tishtim shirgish michem ujin votidem kalasash liesh. Okay, So young people really like this. Many people are happy, and how can this be understood? Basically by looking at the spectators, at people who have come, you can see them smiling, and that's how you can say this.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, there's one thing. It's Kuguyang. It's like big people, older people.
Older people.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it meant like the mass.
Yeah,
and basically you can say it just means that you can say that they are happy because you see them smiling.
You see it on their faces. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Chinchimak nuno chon kanenak tide pairemam ertarat. Truly, they are carrying out this this feast with like a happy soul or so, rested soul. Yeah, then Sandra.
Vettide paremis toosuvlak, concertis toosuvlak, ekranis de morin mutsumat is useta perlea moratat. So, yeah, can I do so for vet?
Yeah.
Okay. So the people coming to those festivals, to this festival and the concerts, Muchimat. I'm not sure what Muchimat is.
I'll give you the morpheme boundaries.
What is this?
Possessive suffix, third person singular.
Oh, God. They sing along
They sing
together.
Yes. So you have you have the most important elements, right? So those that come to this celebration that are coming to the concert, they are singing together, and then this part we still have to translate.
And they see the lyrics of the songs on the screen.
Exactly, that's it. So seeing the lyrics of the song on the screen, they all sing along together. Okay, great. So that's it for this chapter. And next time we're going to have a revision chapter where we are where we're going to look at specifically the sentence types and converb constructions in a somewhat systematic overview. So unless there are some urgent matters pertaining to this chapter for the recording, I'm going to stop the recording now.